This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It's an honor to have you here. Well, old Trump picked a Supreme Court justice, a nominee, and of course the Democrats immediately said they hate him. Of course, Trump could pick Jesus Christ and the Democrats would still make him look like the devil. Be that as it may, it's that our country hates each other, Democrat versus Republican, rather than to unite and make this country greater. With that in mind, though, if I was a picking, I wouldn't have picked that man, though. See, if I had the choice of putting in a nominee, I would not want a judge in there. I would not want a lawyer in there either, nor anyone that ever held an elected office. I'd want someone from the rural area, not the city, but the rural area, and somebody that had a history of common sense to their life. Common sense, and if the law says something and common sense says something else, you go with the common sense. You go with the common sense. For example, my store, for 35 years, I've had hundreds of kids shoplift from me here in McCook, Nebraska. Hundreds. In fact, just yesterday I had a kid shoplift from me. And as I did every one of them, I said, put it back, and I forgive you in the name of the Lord Jesus. But the next store probably won't forgive you, so you better think twice about doing it again. I've had judges, I've had lawyers, and pastors tell me I did it wrong, that I should have demanded a pound of flesh in the legal system from those kids. But I didn't. And I've never regretted the way I go with it. One of the reasons I do that, though, is because when I was a small child, about 6 years old, we were sharecropping, my father was, 5 miles north of Hamlet, and the closest neighbor to us was another farm 5 miles away also. Elderly couple they were, and they invited us over for supper one night. Had a nice evening and back home. Woke up the next morning and my mother got me up and she said, wait a minute, what's this in your bed? It's red. She got looking around, she found a little bitty tube of lipstick. Lipstick. She said, you stole that from that elderly woman. Get dressed, we're going to go back over there. So we went back over there, and my mom made me get out all by myself and walk to that door. Crying I was, figuring I was going to get a whipping. Opened the door she did, and I handed that elderly lady the tube of lipstick, and I said, I'm sorry, I stole this from you. The woman said, I have only one question. What does a little boy want with lipstick? And I said, well, and of course there were TV shows, almost all of them were westerns, cowboy and Indian. And I said, I wanted to be an Indian. She said, come on in. Come with me, and we followed her, or I followed her into the bathroom, and she dug through some stuff, and she said, here's a better, brighter red. She marked it on my face. She said, yeah, that makes you look like a better Indian, but she said, not complete. Come on. And I followed her as she went outside and in the backyard over to the chicken pen and got a couple of feathers laying on the ground. She said, now, come on. Back into the house. She dug through some of her hats, and one had a hat band that she took off, and she measured it on my head, went over to the sewing machine and was cutting and sewing it along with the feathers on it. And my mother walked in. She said, what are you doing? He stole from you. And the woman said, yes, he admitted it. He apologized, and I forgave him. And that's the end of it. That's the end of it. Put the hat band on me. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now you're an Indian. But are you hungry? Are you a hungry Indian? And I said, well, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. She said, would you like an egg sandwich? I said, I sure would. And she said, well, sit down and I'll cook you one. And she pointed to my mom, you want one too? And Mom said, I guess we just will eat. And so we all sat down and had a wonderful, wonderful breakfast. And that has never went away from me. That using common sense and a little bit of mercy in life never hurt anyone. And in the Supreme Court, I hope they find, whether it be this guy or whoever they run into and vote for, I hope he has a little bit of that in his soul. Thank you for your time.